this is Ubola River in Ondo State, and here we have the governor of Ondo State, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, heading to his polling unit at Ward 4 across the river. Currently, we are expecting the trip to begin so that we can go across the river for the governor to cast his vote. Wish us safe trip as we embark on this journey.
All right, so we're watching Aiyedatiwa being sailed off across the river to his village, to his polling unit. So apparently it's from the water area of Ondo State. I think you mentioned that when they first sworn him in, right? There was Ondo APC primaries. I'm still learning. I'm a learner. I didn't realize I didn't realize there's elections going on, or primary elections going on in Ondo State.
Yeah, it's the season of the primaries in Ondo State.
Right.
APC had theirs last Saturday, and that of PDP will be next Saturday.
I see. And then also there's an article here that you apparently.
Yeah. Before we get into that, see.
Right.
What happened?
Talk to me.
Basically last Saturday. Is a classical situation of people getting ensnared with the trap that they have set for others. You know, everybody is up in arms protesting, and I saw my good friend, the man called Olembe, Rotimi Ogunleye, originally from Isolo in Akure, but from Ward 10, I think Isolo Araromi, those days. I saw him on channels, the interview he granted. But what he did not speak about specifically was how Aiyedatiwa, the current chairman of APC in Ondo State, how he went into a plot with Olushola Oke. And then they doctored the membership or the voters register for that primary. What was called a direct primary was supposed to allow every registered card-carrying member of APC access to vote on that day. But you know what they did? For each ward, they had penciled down only people they proved to be financial members. People whom they said have been subscribing by way of finances to their membership, for their membership of APC. So in a place like Akure, South local government, totally cosmopolitan and the most populous part of the state, only 8,000 people were accredited to vote in that primary. And the voting strength of APC members there will be way over 50,000. But they pinned it to 8,000. Same thing happened elsewhere. In Usho, our native homeland, only 90 people were accredited to vote in the primary on Saturday. So all these people had been micro-packaged to vote for Olushola Oke. But the vast majority of Ondo State people, they want the incumbent governor, the sitting governor, Aiyedatiwa. So when they got there, let me confirm to you that yes, something out of place was what happened. They just looked at the line, everybody on the line, not pro Olushola Oke or they are dating faithfuls now. They would just count 90 people on the line. And then, since it was the 90 people they were expected to actually validate the process, they counted all those for um, Aiyedatiwa. Same thing elsewhere. In Elijah Seldo area, while Akure was given a list of 8,000,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they waived it so much. They padded the whole thing. They pre-arranged the whole thing. Their conclusion was that that place was so good, it will allow for 27,000 people to vote. You know, the lopsidedness. So my friend Rotimi Oguleye Olembe did not talk of all this sloppy arrangement that was skewed to favor Olushola Oke. So it's a matter of master riggers outrigging themselves. And to that extent, nobody should cry foul. Because in this day of long nights, it will be foul to be fair. And so it was fair for Aiyedatiwa to be foul. Now, one thing that also emerged is that this thing that rotated, the governorship ticket that rotated to Ondo South Senatorial District, over time, you find out that Elijah and the Kale people, they make it look as if it is exclusively their game. Not minding upland places like Ile-Olu-Ji-Ekegbo, Federal Constituency, Odigbo, and elsewhere. For whatever is zoned to that area, if it's coming from Ikale Elijah, it's okay by them. They should think of all these things. And elsewhere, Nigerians will be talking of marginalization. This is why, personally, I'm not positively disposed to this idea of a Yoruba nation or what have you. What I look at is making for a true federalism, and then we all stay within Nigeria and make it work for all of us. But to that extent, the weekend election primary within APC has come and gone. Now you wanted to bring up an article. Let us listen to that.
Yes, you had an article here that looks like it was originally published in 2011. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. All right, good. So I'm just going to read a small excerpt from the beginning of it. It says, Jimoh Ibrahim is not humble. It would hardly matter that Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim, the bashful and abrasive owner of Emery Oil and Global Fleet Corporation, wants to perceive him as an unborn self-made billionaire. His lack of humility, or should I say his penchant for false humility, leaves us with no choice but to think hard on the source of his wealth. Mr. Ibrahim has a unique way of being vulgar and reckless in a flaunting money, yet no Nigerian, other than those who work at the level of corporate slavery, or should we say monetized servitude, feels the aura and reach of the wealth he wants us to believe he possesses in colossal sums. So that's a small excerpt from it. Can you?
Oh yes, I remember that article.
Okay.
The circumstance of me penning this write-up was when Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim in 2011 was holding a meeting at the Accra airport in his private jet with the late Nigerian ambassador to Australia and Papua New Guinea, later to Greece. My good professor of diplomatic history, the late Professor Oluagbi, who actually was also a secretary to the government of Ondo State under the late Governor Bamidele Olumilua. So Governor Olusegun Mimiko arrived at the airport and had wanted to go and greet Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim. And that was the time when Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim's mother was allegedly kidnapped in Igbo. So whatever happened.
So just to be straight, Mr. Jimoh Ibrahim is a senator presently in Ondo State. Is that correct?
Yes, representing Ondo South Senatorial District. So that was the circumstance. Mimiko had wanted to go and greet him, and then he started pouring invectives and all kinds of vitriols at the former governor. So I looked at it that why would somebody be so disrespectful towards uh, the man that held the fort for about 5 million strong Ondo State citizens? So that was what the thing was. And so in it, I brought out everything I knew about Jimo Ibrahim, his lack of humility, or probably the way he was parading false humility, and always talking about his huge billions. And in this election cycle in Ondo State, he has also boasted that he would outspend so many people.
Was he running? Was he running to?
Yes.
Okay.
See, on Saturday, Aiyedatiwa was the first. I mean, ended up being first. Akin Folari got 15,000 plus. Olushola Oke 14,000 plus. Jimo Ibrahim, I think, came distant fourth or fifth. And Akinteriwa, whom people had thought would do well, as somebody that was coming right from Akredo Loser Caucus. I mean, didn't make a strong showing. But the relevance of this article is that people already knew Jimo Ibrahim. And honestly, from our church, if Jimo Ibrahim had won the primary in APC, people had planned to go into any opposition party for that matter in Ondo State to work massively against him because they thought he would put the state up for sale. Everywhere he went on national television, the one we saw here, he was always boasting with permutations or some calculations on how he had the thing in his wrath and that he was going to become the governor. So he's been humbled again, and I think he needs to work on his strategy and stop pushing on our faces that he has PhD from Harvard. That does not mean anything if it doesn't work for the people. If you are not humble, part of the tragedy of Africa, indeed Nigeria, is that when we want to build our universities, we don't look at them as something that must be located within the community. We sell them way outside the city parameters or limits, and then we produce students or graduates who see themselves as being superior to the rest of the nation, I mean, citizens. We are all equal. And Jimo Ibrahim, again, I say, people like him must learn to be humble. Politicians are hardly humble. But in the case of Jimo Ibrahim, it's almost like the Donald Trump of Nigeria. He's been spending money like water in this election cycle. But thank God, the people knew better, and they have given the deserved diadem, the crown, to the best of all, the incumbent governor Aiyedatiwa.
Yeah, that sounds like asking a politician to be humble sounds like a very, very difficult.
That is almost like you asking the camel to go through the eye of a needle.
Good luck with that. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow, and we'll be back in 20 seconds.